Welcome to the Retro Blood.
Can you believe this? It's Christmas Eve, and we got orders to bring in Santa Claus.
Cindy, if you don't go back to bed, Santa won't come.
He's not the only one.
What you might get up to? All those kitties sitting on your knee all day?
I'd love to have you sitting on my knee.
Christmas carolers. I hate Christmas carolers. Those screeching boys, little blue sniffers. I warned you, Brad!
Mommy, you shouldn't have said that. It's naughty to say bad things about old people. Santa Claus will punish you.
Carpet Day! No!
Don't! It's gonna hurt our kids. We're not even sure it's him.
Not sure my ass. Look at the fur on that suit.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood, as we celebrate our third annual reviews, talking all about 1980s holiday horror movies. This is our Christmas episode here on Christmas Eve, brother. Cheers to everybody. Happy Christmas. Happy everything. I hope you all having a good Christmas Eve. Hope you're all getting your presents out there, doing your last day holiday shopping, and I hope you're listening to the Retro Blood because, boy, we got a lot to talk about. Because if you all like dads who can't make any kind of invention and they totally suck, just imagine this guy on Shark Tank, he would have got booted out in the first minute. If you all like girls who are in the background named Kate, who was there to be the love interest, but then she had a very dark story about her dad dying. If you all like this like random suit guy who you think is going to be the major villain, and he ends up to being nothing. And of course, if you like the original Baby Yoda, Gizmo, then this is the review for you, brother, because the Retro Blood is talking all about Gremlins. J. Alison, James Kline. What's happening, Alison? How's your Christmas Eve going?
Fantastic, man. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the Christmas times. I love all the snack food that I don't get to eat any other time of the year. I love it being cold like it is now. Love the dark beers. Love it. Love all of it. So Christmas specials, Christmas horror movies. Can't get any better.
So you know who's not really liking Christmas too much nowadays? Is our boy... no, not me. I ain't no fucking Grinch, even though when we do the Lights Out show tomorrow, I probably will be a fucking Grinch watching that fucking movie. But as our boy Gizmo. I mean, this guy used to be... This guy... I came up with this idea driving in my car. And I was just thinking, after watching this movie, I was like, you know what? This Gizmo guy used to be like the horror or the snuggly Christmas doll. You know what I mean? He was like...
that's true.
And then out of nowhere comes Disney and comes the fucking Marvel, Star Wars universe, brother, and created Baby Yoda, and has taken the mantle away from our boy Gizmo. After all those years of the hard work that our boy Gizmo put in from the 80s until like the early 2000 to 2020s and stuff, when whatever Baby Yoda came about, it was a run. But boy, I mean, come on, does anybody ever talk about the sweet cuddly Gizmo anymore for your holiday stuffers?
They should. Like, Baby Yoda is like the bootleg Gizmo. I mean, it's like, you can't tell me that whoever designed Baby Yoda did not design him based on Gizmo. Because I mean, he has the same ears, his head moves the same way, he has that cute little thing that he does with his body or whatever.
Yeah,
man, I'm Team Gizmo all the way.
You gotta be, man. I mean, this guy's the original OG, brother, of cute, cuddly horror stuff on Christmas. I mean, come on, great stuff. But this is a very interesting movie. Like, we haven't done a lot of, like, PG movies on the Retro Blood. You know what I mean? Me and you, also, we're more about the raunchy shit. You know what I mean?
Yep, yeah.
But, like, you know, it's kind of nice. You know, it is Christmas Eve. You know what I mean? It's Christmas Eve. We got our boy Billy out here. You know what I mean? Getting a new pet for Christmas. You know what I mean? We got fucking this teacher who want to do some science experiments. You know what I mean? We got it all on here. So,
but to be fair though, this movie is barely PG.
Yeah.
In fact, this and Temple of the Doom Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom were like the two movies that caused the MPAA to invent PG-13.
Yes, which is funny
because this movie's not really strong enough for an R. Although I think in some cases maybe it's close.
Yeah.
But it's definitely too strong for a PG. And when we talk about some of the things that were cut out of this movie, like there's no way they could have made this movie and it not be R if they hadn't edited it down.
Yeah, that's true. So it's a very interesting one, but it's a very famous tale of the slimy little creatures that the 80s was actually kind of known for. And this is probably, wasn't this? So I know Steven Spielberg, right? He's the one that directed this. Which we're going to talk.
No, he didn't direct it.
Okay.
He was one of the producers on it.
That's what it was. Yes.
But Joe Dante produced it. I mean, Joe Dante directed it, and it was written by Chris Columbus before he became like a more famous as a director.
Okay, nice.
But he used to write movies. He directed Mrs. Doubtfire and a bunch of other movies. But he wrote this. But it has a great cast. I remember seeing this movie in the theaters.
Yeah.
But I have not seen it. I don't even know how long it's been. Years. I mean, I probably haven't seen it in 30 years or more.
Some decades.
Yeah, it's been decades, but I did not really remember some things. Like, I don't remember Gizmo talking. I didn't know he talked until I watched it again.
Yeah, towards the end and stuff, so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we'll get all up into it, you know what I mean? But, just like every Retro Blood, in the Christmas episode is no different here, because we're going to be celebrating every segment with some holiday cheer, brother. But just like every Retro Blood, we talk about what is happening in the world of the pro wrestling and the metal music. We do that because, it's Christmas time, and, we don't want to give you just one piece of coal in your stocking. We want to give you multiple pieces of coal in your stocking. All right?
Oh, yeah. Multiple pieces of coal.
I mean, come on now. All right? The Retro Blood's been naughty all year, brother. What do you expect? All right? But this movie, which is weird because it has like a Christmas theme to the whole movie. Like the whole movie takes place during Christmas Eve and Christmas. But it was released.
So we're doing it.
Yeah, but it was released in June.
Yes.
Like one of the hottest. We're getting to like the winter time's over, brother, in June. Okay, like June 8th, 1984. Okay.
It is really strange, right, that they released it in June.
Yeah.
Because you could say that, okay, well, they wanted to release it as a big movie for the summer movie season, but Christmas is also a big movie
exactly
season.
That's
so I don't know why this came out in June, especially considering some of the other things. Like, I don't know if you want to talk about it now or later, but like some of the other stuff that was released right around here is amazing. Like this summer was a hell of a summer for movies, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, because this was a big ass summer for the movies. So But let's get into the first thing, because I'm getting a little parched over here, brother. All right. Yeah. Our traditional holiday beer reviews. Okay. And we've been doing this pretty much every episode this month. Me and Alison, like we're like the gifts that keep on giving. You know what I mean?
We like to give.
Not only do we talk about these horror movies and give you some insight, you know what I mean? To the dialogue and the scenes and everything behind the scenes. You can listen to our sweet voices. We give you some knowledge when it comes to the pro wrestling metal, but we also tell you what beer to get too. I mean, we're like the total package, man.
We are. Like Lex Luger.
Exactly. So we've been going strong on recommending a lot of these holiday beers. Now, a lot of the beers that we've been drinking are native to North Carolina, but you know what I mean? We also have those imports. You can get those imports too. But the one I've been meaning to try it for a while, and I even tagged you in the post there, Alison.
Yeah, I tried to buy some of that and couldn't find it. So
shit, it was sold out.
Yeah, it was sold out where I was. Yeah.
I went to the actual High Wire and picked this shit up. So the one I'm going to be drinking on the podcast today, hopefully it doesn't hit me too strong, because it is called the Strongman Coffee Milk Stout. Okay? Dark and roasty is the tagline. And which is cool about this beer, like when I bought it, they actually give you like coffee to go along with it. Like the actual coffee bean that they used in the beer, they sell that too, and it was like a bundle package. So it was pretty cool.
Really?
So it was a high wire coffee bean made by the coffee distributor Dynamite, I believe it is. And
Dynamite's local coffee.
Yeah,
it's all the coffee I drink.
Yeah. So it's basically the high wire collab that they did. I wasn't able to drink that coffee yet because I am too much of a new age guy, and I don't have a coffee grinder because they only gave me. All right. I am like one of those what are those guys? You know what I mean? Those new age guys that just get everything made for them. You know what I mean? Up next, I'm going to be asking about my Apple Watch. What's my Apple Watch doing?
Where's my Apple Watch doing?
So, but the thing I'm worried about this beer is I drink coffee all the time, but I don't put any milk in my coffee because I am semi-lactose. So this one is going to be interesting because it's a coffee milk stout, brother. So maybe I'll be okay. If I start choking on the podcast, we're just going to blame it on the Gremlins.
I'll call the 911.
Yeah.
If we start choking, but I mean, surely you've had a milk stout before.
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I mean duck rabbit, but I mean, so milk stouts do have lactose in them, so we'll see how that goes.
Brother, there it is. I like that sound. But yeah,
is it a bottle?
No, this is a can. It's one of those big ass cans.
Oh, I didn't hear a can pop.
Oh yeah, that's dark. Oh yeah, that's fucking dark as shit. Oh my god. Holy shit! This is like fucking dark ass coffee. That's oh fuck! I hope I don't stay up all night.
Let's see. I'm opening my beer too, so we can talk about that after you're done orgasming over yours.
Well, this one's like fucking. I mean, so when they say dark and roasty, they are not lying. It is basically like a coffee beer. Like it's like you can actually taste the bitter coffee with it. So it's pretty shit. We're doing this at nighttime too. I'm going to be up all night. It doesn't say it has any fucking caffeine in that bullshit.
Well, I guarantee you it does.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know if it's true. It may actually heat up enough to where it gets rid of the caffeine. I don't know. Like, I know how beer's made. I don't really know. I just fake it.
But boy, it's good.
I have friends who make good beer, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, if you all like coffee and you like beer, this is the one for you, brother. Especially if you like your coffee dark, like the dark roast style coffee bean. But yeah, it's good. I definitely recommend. Alison, you probably love this beer. Fucking dark and bitter as shit, brother. All right,
just like my soul.
It's as bitter as our boy. What's his name? Spike? Or no? It was Stripe.
Stripe. Yeah, Stripe.
Yeah, because he had a mohawk. All right.
Yeah. That's how you can tell it was 1984.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a good one, man. Everybody check it out if you can. It might be a limited edition because it is a collab. But the Strongman Coffee Milk Stout. Highwire, they actually make some really good stout beers. Another shout out too is their WD-40 one they have.
Yes.
And the one they actually have this year, which I had when I was at the bar, was the WD-40 Mexican coffee beer, which is fucking good as shit too. If you like a little bit more of a spicy, type of beer, like a little bit more of a oh god, it wasn't like it's like a whole jalapenos in there, but it had a little bit of that taste of jalapeno in there too. So it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Highwire. Highwire is I think of the big it's probably my second favorite brewery. Local brewery, I think. The Highwire, I think, is really good. Yeah. It's my second favorite one. Although there's so many now, I haven't been to most of them anymore. Yeah, the ones that have been around a while, it's my second favorite brewery.
Well, I feel like I should be drinking this beer in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, sure, she'd always drink a stout in the morning.
I was like,
what else is there to do?
Yeah, just pour it up.
So basically, for my beer, I got the Highland Brewing version of what you got. So their version is called Nuts and Volts.
Oh, okay.
It's a coconut coffee porter, which normally, like, I'm on here usually railing against candy bar beers, but for some reason, I like at Christmas time I like toasted coconut beers. I don't know why. It's just like one of those things that I like. But it's like toasted coconut. It's made from Dynamite Coffee.
Nice.
It's only 5.8, so it's not like real super heavy. It's just a good drinking, porter. It's just great.
Oh yeah, you got me beat though. Mine's 5.3.
Oh, so I got more alcohol than yours does. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, 5.3 is even better. I mean, you don't really need high gravity beers. I mean,
yeah,
you really don't. It doesn't really add that much to it. But it's really, I mean, I would describe it a lot like you're describing your beer. It's very malty. It's very toasted. It's very very dark. But I don't think the coffee comes through. Well, it's kind of on the back end a little bit.
Oh, really? Interesting. Mine's like, you can tell right away on mine. Like, boom, coffee. I was like, fuck.
And I'm sure this is super entertaining radio with people listening to us taste beer.
Bro, they love it, man. They love it all the time. They're like, we want a beer too. I got a trick too for beer lovers out there who like their peppermint too.
Uh-oh.
So I used to do this trick.
But yeah, I like this. I like Nuts and Bolts, so everybody should check it out. It's only available in January, February, and December.
Check it out. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. Like fucking, we got coconut and that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some good stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is a little trick, and then we'll get on to the rest of the podcast. But I used to do this trick all the time, and I do this with dark beers. So I am a big peppermint fan. So anything peppermint I'm all about it. So sometimes what I do is I actually get one of those peppermints. All right.
Yeah.
And before I go out to the bar, or if I know I'm going to be drinking stouts that day, because stouts are kind of like, they could be mixed in with double chocolate as well too, like a very high end dark chocolate. So what I'll do is I'll order a stout with the double chocolate, whatever double chocolate one they have. I'll put a peppermint in my mouth and I'll drink it, and then I'll have a peppermint beer with stouts.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
You can do. You can use candy canes too.
Yeah, you can just put the candy cane in there, and like you get your peppermint chocolate.
Yeah, because you just pop one of those in there and drink. Boom, there you go.
Speaking of double chocolate, guess what came out this week?
Is it our boys Randall's new invention? No,
Black Watch. Highland's double chocolate milk stout came out.
Oh shit! Okay.
That's also really good. It's 8% though, so it's a little bit heavy. But it's good. It's good stuff. It always comes out like the week of Thanksgiving. So it probably actually came out last week or the week before. But I picked up a 6-pack today while I was out.
Nice. I'm gonna have to try that for the New Year's episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, we can both get that for the New Year's episode. That'd be great.
There you go, brother. Got it all good. But everybody,
give the people something to come back for.
Exactly. But everybody, that's enough about the beer talk. Even though we're gonna be sipping on this beer all night. But let's get into the actual history segment of what was happening around the pro wrestling and the metal music around the June of 1984. I'll go first because I know you got a lot to talk about when it comes to the metal there, Alison. But, so, like I said last week, I thought it'd be a good idea between then and until the end of the year that on the wrestling side of the Retro Blood podcast, we would talk about the territory of one world-class championship wrestling. The reason is because of that new Iron Claw movie that came out in theaters, which I still haven't seen yet, but I do have plans of seeing that very, very soon.
Yeah, we need to get to
that. Damn, this just dark as shit. Anyway, so we definitely are going to do that, and I'm thinking about doing that for maybe a YouTube extra or something. So we'll figure that out and stuff. But I definitely want to watch it. But the territory was happening around this time. So I reviewed another one of their weekly television shows, and this show actually took place from the Sportatorium this time, which was their famous venue that they would run in Dallas to mostly do their TVs. The only time they would go to the Reunion Arena, or they would go to the Texas field, the baseball field they had out there, they had super big shows. But most of the time they filmed their TV in the Sportatorium. But we have a lot of shit going on here in this show, which is pretty interesting to talk about. So the first match is probably the best match on the card, which was one Kevin Von Erich, all right, versus Michael P.S. Hayes. So it's pretty funny that we're in 1984 and Kevin's opening up the show, And then our last review last week, he was in 1982, opening up the show 2 versus another Freebird. So this feud's been going on for like at least right now, like 2 years. All right.
Well, yeah. Didn't the Freebirds and Von Erich's feud go on for many years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they did. I actually tried a couple of different versions of it too. But you'll like this match, Alison, and everybody. If anybody is a old school Retro Blood fan that listens to our wrestling reviews and doesn't fast forward them, they will love this segment coming up. Okay, it's gonna be so. This match, first of all, was back and forth, and everybody was like screaming, like the Claw. Mm-hmm. All right, but God, I thought they were screaming something else at the beginning. All right, like I thought it's like all it says like we want the Claw, we want the Claw, and I was like, what the hell are they saying at first? I was like, are they saying like we want the law? Like what? Because they couldn't really tell until the announcer's like, no, they said we want the Claw. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because he does the Claw. So they're going back and forth. This match is heated. Like the crowd is like on their feet the whole time for these guys. Because Michael, he was probably like one of the best workers in world class at this time.
Absolutely.
And so Kevin actually gets on the Claw, right? And we have a disqualification. And guess who runs out? Check out this team, Alison. I'm about to blow your mind. Okay. Mm-hmm. We have Terry Gordy, okay, which, that's not going to blow your mind because he's part of the Freebirds. And his mentor of who taught him the Oriental Spike, we have one Killer Khan has returned to the Retro Blood, brother.
Yeah, like, weird, right?
Holy shit, brother, he is here. So Killer Khan is a heel in this territory, and he has the devastated Oriental Spike,
which he taught to Terry Gordy.
Oh my, bro, you gotta see. This is my favorite tag team, brother. This fucking country redneck Terry Gordy and this fucking just like Mongolian looking Killer Khan guy. I mean, fuck. Well, please, we need more of that kind of tag teams.
We do. It's fantastic.
So. And they're actually going to be in the tag team main event later on that night. All right. So what did you feel like when you were watching it? How did you feel about Killer Khan showing up?
Man, I love Killer Khan. He's cool.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, this guy's great.
I always love the. You can't do it today, but the quote unquote Oriental villain. I always love that because it's like even as far as the '80s. Like, people from Asia were considered weird and strange and unusual.
Yeah.
And they all have unusual ways about them. And they have the Oriental Spike, which will kill you if
But actually, I like the way he did the Spike. Because, when they came out with the disqualification, I think one of the Von Erich's brothers came in. I think it was Mike that came in. He just got, fucking thrown over the rope. And so he does the Spike, right? But it's not like the Samoan Spike where it just like you just hit him.
No, it's the Oriental Spike.
Yeah. So there's like a couple different spikes I've seen in wrestling. There's a Samoan Spike, was done by Umaga, and is done by Solo. And then you got the Bad Luck Fale style Spike, which I don't remember. What does he call that thing? I forgot what he calls it. But he does like a spike bird.
Put me on a spot. I can't remember.
Like he grabs the guy. Yeah, his is actually cool because he grabs the guy and like spikes him while he's going down, kind of like a choke slam into a spike.
Yeah.
And then you got this Oriental Spike where the guy does a spike, but then he leaves it on the opponent's neck, like he like drills into their neck and shit. So I actually thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, with his thumb. I was like, oh, that's kind of a good idea.
You would actually think the spike would hurt the person doing it more than the person that, you'd think you would jam your thumb. That's what I'm saying.
Or maybe he got the trachea.
Maybe the trachea. Yeah, that's why it's a technique. That's what he had to teach Terry Gordy how not to jam his thumb when he's like.
Yeah, there you go.
Going into the trachea.
Yeah, so he basically blooded up in Kevin Von Erich on here. So you could, and then later on, we also too Iceman and Chris Adams came out to make the save, and later on tonight we're gonna see Iceman and Chris battled out against Terry Gordy and Killer Khan, my new favorite tag team.
Yeah, Iceman was great. I don't know that I'd ever really seen him much before, but he's very Junkyard Dog like.
Yeah.
But but fantastic though. Loved Iceman.
Yeah.
Him and gentleman Chris Adams was kind of a weird tag team too.
Yeah. This is before. So this is right before Chris Adams is about to turn heel, and then a couple years after that, then Iceman will turn heel. So, but the baby face Chris Adams was like okay, you know what I mean? But he didn't really hit his character. He didn't really start getting over until he actually turned heel on the Von Erichs, and he really started to get over. So hopefully we'll see some of that in some of these reviews and stuff, because he is a pretty great heel, especially his team with Gino Hernandez. That's actually one of my favorite teams in the world class territory.
Yeah.
So. Speaking of not my favorite thing, and I was actually kind of confused about this, we meet one Salamagne French.
Oh, okay.
Alison, do you have any good stories about one Salamagne French?
Absolutely not.
The lady truck driver.
So I was going to ask you about her. So I tried to do some research on her, and not a lot is known. Apparently, she was a wrestler. She was trained by Mildred Burke, who was a really old time wrestler.
Yeah.
And she got injured in the ring and moved to Florida, and then she moved to North Carolina before she passed away. So I don't know a lot about her, and I have no idea what the hell's going on in this scene. So so between last week's Retro Blood and this week, it was 1982 last week, and this week is 1984.
Yes.
But we still seem to have this Jimmy Garvin Precious Sunshine thing going.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah, brother.
But Sunshine.
Going.
So didn't what was her name again? French.
Yeah. Salamagne French.
Salamagne French. Wasn't she there? She was threatening Sunshine and Jimmy Garvin.
No,
right?
she was threatening Precious and Jimmy Garvin, but she
because
she was mad at Sunshine.
I got you.
Yeah, so here's the story.
Why is she mad at Sunshine?
Well, here's the story. What I kind of got. We didn't watch everything. We just watched this one promo and her coming out later. So what we know about this lady, that she drives a truck. All right.
Yes.
She had an interview outside, and she was talking about how she is the girl who I guess grew up and helped raise Sunshine, and then Sunshine was being an asshole when she started to manage Jimmy Garvin. Okay. So, but she doesn't blame Sunshine. She blames Jimmy Garvin of turning Sunshine at that particular point into like an asshole. So she is back out here to get her revenge on Jimmy Garvin because of Jimmy Garvin. She feels like he's one of those manipulators. All right? And she basically threatened to run him over and beat him up with some wood.
Yes, she was going to run him over with the truck.
Yes.
But I was a little confused about the whole. Okay, so I don't know, but I was assuming that when, like we were talking about last week, since Sunshine was feuding against Jimmy Garvin and Precious, that she was a face. But this French lady makes it seem like Sunshine is also a heel.
Well, so I'm not.
She's a terrible person.
Well, maybe she meant like the old Sunshine.
Maybe. Although Sunshine wasn't on this program at all, so I really don't know what was going on with her.
Like I said, this is what happens when we don't watch the week to week, so we had to kind of guess a little bit. But I'm guessing. I thought she was talking about the old Sunshine, and she. I guess what happened was. I'm just guessing right now. Like I said, guys, we don't watch this week to week, but I'm guessing somehow Precious and Jimmy Garvin maybe took out Sunshine, and then this girl is coming for revenge, and she's just giving the backstory of why she hasn't been here when Sunshine was here. Because she didn't talk to Sunshine, but now that they reconciled, now she's going to come take revenge on Jimmy Garvin for ruining her friend's Sunshine's life. So that's what I got out of it for watching this one episode.
I mean, sure, you can get that out of I mean, that's as good that's a good answer as any. But yeah, she's going to run over Jimmy Garvin, and we see her a little bit later too, going after.
Now there is something I will never get, and I have no idea why, and that's why did we book The Missing Link?
Oh, what? You don't like The Missing Link?
I don't know, man. I just don't get it. Like, he just grabs his hair and, like, he just, like, stands there and poses. And If I wanted somebody to pose,
that,
boy, I got the fucking Hercules. He's better at posing.
You do have right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. But the best thing about that match was like, because it was against Jay and
it was
Jay
Jules Strongboat.
Jules, yeah, yes. And but then he took off his headdress.
Yeah.
And the commentators know about how the missing link was confused as to how he took his hair off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I swear, did I mishear this? But then the commentators then said that the missing link uses his hair as an antenna.
Bro, I have no idea. Maybe they just do shock him with his hair. It's stupid. And then he has I don't know, just the offense and everything. I just wasn't digging it. And bro, this guy had like the fucking acne pimples all over his body. I was like, come on, bro.
Yeah, that's because of the steroids.
Yeah, so apparently in wherever he's from, those we got to do that, brother. So his manager Akna Arbar or something, he attacked Julius, so there's a disqualification. And then we see Iceman come back and make the save. Fucking Iceman, he was all over this fucking show. Like, he was all over this show. I was like, okay, we're pushing this guy strong.
He's a big face. Yeah, he's a big face right now. So
then we have a Jimmy Garvin promo. Okay.
Yes, this is great.
Well, he's talking about like, they're saying he's like, I don't want to have to watch over my shoulder for this French girl and stuff. It's not my fault about Sunshine what happened to her. All right. And then like he has like pressures with him and everything, and he's all the time about, did you know that girl was in an insane asylum? That French girl? All right. Can't do any of that.
Insane asylum.
So now Garvin is now going to be wrestling a jobber. I didn't write down the jobber's name, but he's going to be watching this jobber. And Garvin's like, I'm going to finish this guy up quick and stuff. And then they're talking about how, Garvin is not having the best of luck lately because he lost the American heavyweight title to one Gina Hernandez.
Yeah.
Okay. And then this is a back and forth match. It's okay. It's a little slow, but he actually went with a suplex. A regular suplex.
Yep.
Because, back in the day, brother, fucking suplexes and one DDT, they ain't no transitional moves, brother. You're gone.
No, a suplex was a serious move. I remember when the first time I ever saw the Enziguri.
Oh, yeah.
And they were, the first person I ever saw do it was Robert Gibson. And I remember them talking about how the Enziguri was just an amazing move. How did he even pull that off? How did he do that?
Yes. Yeah, it's a little different now, brother. We got a lot more moves in the repertoire. But after this is when we have Stella Man French come out and she attacked Garvin, and they all get out of here. And then the baby faces were trying to calm French down. So, yeah. I don't know where this French stuff is going with, but it's kind of weird right now. I guess this is one of the things you have to watch week to week to fully understand.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's going to culminate in some kind of big match.
Yeah. So up next we have a great tag team match: Terry Gordy and Killer Khan brother versus Chris Adams and Iceman Parsons.
Yes.
All right. And this is a great match. Like back and forth, pretty fun match. A lot of good heat on there too. This Killer Khan, bro, he's fucking great. Like when he fucking did that knee off the top of his fucking, I thought he broke his neck.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Yeah, he's great. They're both, all four of these guys are great wrestlers.
Yeah. So like what happened was, I don't remember who actually threw him. I think it might have been Terry Gordy. Somebody threw Iceman over the top rope. Because, back in the day in this territory, brother, if you're thrown over the top rope, it's a disqualification. Because it's too dangerous throwing a competitor over the top rope. So they threw Iceman over the top rope and they started beating on Adams. And then Killer Khan does his fucking drop the knee on his fucking neck. Looked like it killed his ass. And they were about to go for the spike, the Oriental spike. But then Iceman comes in and makes the save. And then they talk about them winning the match because of throwing him over the top rope. So, pretty good episode. We can kind of see that we're, during this particular period, we're building up a little bit more baby faces in the territory. compared to just the Von Erichs. So that's kind of a new, fresh to see. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have to have a Von Erich in the main event all the time, which is pretty cool that they were doing that around this time.
Yeah, and they also mentioned that Kerry was in Japan defending his title.
Yeah.
And that's why he couldn't come out and help Kevin.
Yes. Because they had that big contract with All Japan still at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, pretty fun stuff. Like I said, this is very exciting territory. If y'all haven't really seen World Class before, I recommend just giving it a try. I would recommend probably to check out one of their longer shows, like the weekly TV show. You'd be like a little shocked, like, okay, this is, because you never know what you're gonna get with the weekly show. But I think they do. If you take yourself in that time period, this is a very fun promotion with a lot of younger stars, which is nice. And there's a lot of more athleticism in this promotion, which is nice to see.
Well, yeah, because I mean, that's what our show's all about, is this time period. So but yeah, we celebrate this era of wrestling where it's, because I mean, we both love 80s wrestling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Back when it was still real, man.
Still real to me, brother. Put the
still real to me, brother.
You got the Oriental spike. That's devastating, brother. You want a trachea anymore? You can't have one.
Mm-mm.
You get the spike on you.
Gotta hit him in the trachea. That's that. Next time we go to wrestling, that's going to be my chant from the second row. Hit him in the trachea.
I don't think my chant of Oriental spike will go over too well.
No, we'll get kicked out. We'll get kicked out at an AEW show because they're all inclusive.
So what do you got for us for the metal music, Allison? We definitely like something that's metal music.
So you kind of set it up for the people to where they're going to be disappointed. So I don't actually have a lot of metal, but I do have a lot of stuff to talk about. So the summer of 1984, as I mentioned before, was pretty nuts. So the big metal thing that I found, and we talked about this band last week a little bit, but I'll talk about them again this week. Slayer released their first EP, Haunting the Chapel, on June the 1st. So that, so what? It's the first Slayer album or first Slayer EP, not a big deal. But I want to talk about some other things that weren't necessarily metal that happened the same month. So June the 4th, Bruce Springsteen released Born in the USA, which is, one of the biggest albums of the 80s and definitely of that year. And the same month, on June 25th, Prince released Purple Rain. So can you imagine that? Two albums, crazy. Two historical albums coming out in the same month. But I don't want to talk about them too much because they're not metal, but I just thought that was amazing.
I don't know, man, that Purple Rain.
Yeah, that is pretty metal. That is a little bit metal.
This guy fucking Prince. I mean, who's more of a rock star than fucking Prince, bro?
Nobody. I mean, I love Prince. I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet Prince once. I love Prince. I've seen Prince so many times.
Groupies everywhere, fucking just partying and shit. Just wild, brother. Okay, wild man.
But we also had Van Halen's 1984 album still going strong. They released Panama as a single this week. The week this movie came out. The Ghostbusters soundtrack came out this week. Which was a huge album for, it came out on June the 8th, which is the same day this movie came out. It was a huge hit that summer. I remember having that on cassette and listening to the Ghostbusters theme song over and over and over again on my headphones. Which is weird, but I mean, I was like a little kid, so what would I expect? I can't listen to Ozzy Osbourne all the time, right?
Yeah, I don't know what my first soundtrack was. God, actually, I think I do know what it was. So
this should be great.
I just came to my head, brother, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?" So which one? It was Batman Forever.
Oh wow! Is that the one with the Seal song on it?
Yes, the Seal song, brother. Bro, I listen to that fucking soundtrack, that Seal song, all the time. Every time I even hear the Seal song come on, I'm like, you know what? It brings a tear to my eye. It's a great song, brother.
Was it "Kiss from a Rose"?
"Kiss from a Rose," brother.
Yeah, I know.
It was on the Batman Forever soundtrack. Got a fucking Val Kilmer? You know what I mean? On there. That's a great soundtrack. Brother. I love it. I
mean, honestly, this wasn't my first soundtrack. My first soundtrack was to Empire Strikes Back, which my parents bought for me on vinyl. which I still have. I still have that copy, and I listened to it the other day actually. But it's a weird summer though, man. It's like the summer, June of 1984. So check this out. This is about movies, but I think you'll find this interesting. So, on May the 23rd, so Memorial Day weekend, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came out.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So then on June the 1st, Star Trek 3 came out. So that's the next week. And then the week after that, on June the 8th, Gremlins and Ghostbusters were released on the same day.
Damn, okay.
So, I mean, just 4 blockbuster movies all in the theaters at the same time. I mean,
that's like 4 legendary movies. That's crazy.
Yeah, 4 legendary movies. Like, that wouldn't even happen today. Like, there's not enough money in the movie industry for that to happen today. Like, if some big movie were to be announced, well, I mean, you hear about it all the time. Like, they move release dates because some other big movie was announced on the same day. But now you would never release 2 big hits like that.
Well,
on the same
I mean,
day.
the only thing I can remember in recent time was the Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Exactly, Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
Those came out on the same day.
But I believe that was a couple factors to that. Like it was the hype of the 2, like different movies coming at the same time. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people wanted to do like the dual attraction. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of like somehow in the marketing without like it's kind of like in the fans version of marketing if they marketed Ghostbusters and Gremlins to be like, a double header. Like we would go to see Ghostbusters, then right away we go see Gremlins. That's kind of like what they did with the Barbie and the Oppenheimer movie, which would be like the guys were looking to see the Oppenheimer, the girls wanted to see the Barbie, so you just watch them both.
Well, yeah, but that's like fan booking though. Like I could like Barbie and Oppenheimer probably came out on the same day because they figured that it's going to be 2 completely different crowds. Like the people who want to go see Oppenheimer are not going to go see Barbie.
But the thing is,
the fans made it like a thing, like a double feature.
Exactly, and that was the power of it, because like you were saying, it was like kind of made for 2 different audiences, but those audiences intertwined with each other and they hyped it up. I've kind of like seeing both of them.
There are people that were going to see both of them. Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy, but like that's definitely something. I mean, you got like 4 blockbuster movies. I mean, the Indiana Jones one
or 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Even the original Ghostbusters, fuck. Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember that summer I saw Gremlins and Ghostbusters that same week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something, man. There you go. But that's
pretty much what I had.
Whole lot of buying movies right there. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, let's get into some of the who booked this shit when it comes to the Gremlins.
Who booked this shit?
So our director guy was the guy you were talking about, Joe Dante.
Joe Dante, yeah.
All right. And he's known to kind of do like these style movies. He did The Burbs. All right. A little after this. He actually did The Howling.
He did.
So we're going to be talking about that soon. One of these months here on the Retro
Soonish.
Blood. Yeah, soonage. So, yeah, he was kind of known. He's done a little horror, a little comedy. So I thought he was a pretty good director for this. And, of course, this, like we were saying, it was one of the producers was Steven Spielberg. Executive producers. So apparently this movie was like largely surrounded by the merchandising campaigns for this film. So they're like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like one of those things like, we could create this gremlin creature, but we could also market it towards like kids in a way. Have a new furry demon.
Yes. So you can definitely tell. And a lot of movies in the 80s were made that way to where, because there's kind of like a thing that people say about movies, and they say before Star Wars and after Star Wars. And after Star Wars, movies were completely different, because Star Wars was one of the first movies that really marketed merchandise. You know what I mean? Like before that, people just went to see movies. But after Star Wars, when Star Wars came out, they're like, it was on everything. It was on posters and lunchboxes and T-shirts and action figures and anything you could think of. So Gremlins is one of these post Star Wars movies where like, oh, we don't have to make all of our money off the box office now. We can sell gizmos. We can sell stuffed gizmos, just like we sold the stuffed ETs.
Yep.
And we can sell all that shit, and we'll make even more money on the back end.
That's true.
And they did.
So also too, what was happening around this time period was the comedy horror was getting a little popular.
Yeah.
All right. So this was like kind of a time when I was getting popular because, like I said, Ghostbusters was basically like that as well too. It was a comedy movie, but it had certain horror elements in it when it comes to like ghosts, demon terrorizing the city and stuff. But there's a lot of comedic aspects to the film.
Yes.
So there's a couple of things. So the Gremlins was first conceived during the 1920s when mechanical failures in a RF aircraft were jokingly blamed on the small monsters. The term Gremlins, and like maybe that's when the neighbor guy, he was like talking about this story where like a lot of the aircraft stuff, there was like little things in the aircraft that was like breaking them down. And he was like, yeah, they were called Gremlins and stuff, and that's how they came up with the idea of Gremlins. Was that from that story?
Yeah. So I wonder if like the concept of Gremlins didn't exist before World War II. Like, were they created for, at that time?
Oh, maybe.
Because that's always been like a thing. Because that's like the Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner.
Yeah.
Where he sees the gremlin on the wing of the plane that was made in the 60s, I guess, 50s or 60s. But yeah, so that's like always been a thing. But yeah, so they use that as the basis for this story.
Yeah. And they also used this book too, a book, brother. All right. Made by Ronald. Was it Ronald Dahl? He published a book.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Go ahead. I think it's Roald Dahl, I think is how you say his name, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Roald Dahl published a book called The Gremlins in 1943 based on these mischievous creatures. So Walt Disney considered making a film of it. A Bugs Bunny cartoon of the era, following Hare, has him battling a gremlin on an airplane. But Joe Dante had read The Gremlins and said that the book was some of influence of his work. But in 1983, Dante said distanced his work from earlier films, explaining our gremlins are somewhat different. They're sort of green, and they have big mouths, and they smile a lot, and they do incredibly really nasty things to people and enjoy it all the while. It's a little different than those gremlins on the book.
A little different.
So the story of Gremlins is also conceived by Chris Columbus. Columbus explained his inspiration came from his loft when at night what sounded like a platoon of mice would come out, and to hear them screeching around in the blackness is really creepy. He then wrote the original screenplay as a space script to show potential employers that sorry, every time I hear that, that's just funny to me. Had writing abilities. The story was not actually intended to be filmed until Steven Spielberg took an interest in turning it into a film. As Spielberg explained, it's one of the most original things I've came across in many years, which is why I bought it. Okay, tell us how you really feel. Spielberg considered Tim Burton to direct the film after seeing his short film, Frankenweenie. So
that would be weird, right?
That would have been very interesting to see Tim Burton direct Gremlins. But you know what? That would have been I'd have been actually very curious about that, actually. That shit would have been pretty trippy. Okay? So, but he...
Well, I mean, we've talked about that a lot lately with weird director choices that could have been, like John Carpenter directing Top Gun.
Yes, exactly.
We talked about that like a couple of weeks ago, and that would have been really weird. And then David Lynch turned down Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Which is, I can't even imagine what that shit would have been like.
Oh, I know. But Tim Burton, actually, I think Tim Burton would have done pretty well with the Gremlins. You know what I mean? It probably just would have been a little bit more darker in a way. Because a lot of his films have like the same kind of like a very interesting tone. But he would have done really well with the winter theme.
Yeah, and it would have had Winona Ryder in it instead of Phoebe Cates.
Yeah. She'd been a little more gothic. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. All right. So basically, Spielberg, he chose Dante as a director because of his experience with horror comedy. So, because like I said, he did The Howling, which I guess I haven't seen The Howling before, so I don't know if it's a horror comedy. Have you
I thought that was weird. Yeah. I would not consider that movie a comedy at all.
Yeah. So, but he said like in between The Howling and offered to him Gremlins, he had experienced a lull in his career. So, so Dante began doing storyboards work in the film while also working as a director on Twilight Zone, the movie. So he's kind of busy this year. A film in which Spielberg also served as a director. The film's producer, Michael Finn, who had also worked on The Howling with Dante, Spielberg took the project to Warner Bros. And co-produced it through his own company, Amblin Entertainment. So, the film, obviously, films always go through a bunch of different shooting and drafts and everything. The first version was apparently a lot more darker than the final film. Okay. Various scenes were cut out, including which would portray Billy's mother dying in her struggle with the Gremlins, with her head being thrown down the stairs when Billy arrives. Fuck, we should have got that in. That shit would have been wild.
Yeah, can you? I mean, like that. There's no way that movie would not have been rated R. If that had been
exactly.
in it. But I just imagine like her head just like rolling down the steps.
Oh no. Because
wow.
So nowadays, this movie probably would have been like PG. I could see some elements of it being PG-13, but it was very tame. So Dante later explained the scene made the film darker than the filmmakers wanted. There was also a scene where the Gremlins ate Billy's dog, and a scene where the Gremlins attacked a McDonald's.
And then ate the people.
Then ate the customers inside of the burger. That shit would have been fucking awesome. But the problem is
they were gonna kill Billy's dog. I mean, holy shit. I mean, how that would have been worse than his mom getting killed.
Yeah, what about the people at the McDonald's?
I don't care about those people.
Even though we didn't even see the McDonald's sign, we saw the Burger King sign.
Yeah, they probably couldn't get funding from McDonald's. But yeah, I don't know. I could see how this would be a problem because when you look at Gremlins, you might think it's a kid's movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you see Gizmo,
yeah,
and I'm sure
it kind of does. Yeah.
I'm sure they plastered that guy's little face everywhere so that people would go see it, and then it turns into this like movie about these like little demon gremlins that are killing everybody.
Yeah. So apparently, also too, they intended of Stripe being a Mogwai who became a gremlin. There was originally no Mogwai named Stripe. Rather, Gizmo was supposed to transform into Stripe the gremlin. Spielberg overruled this plot element as he felt Gizmo was so cute and that audiences want him to be a present throughout the film. Or presence throughout the film.
Yeah.
And a presence.
You can't get rid of Gizmo. Yes. Gizmo is too adorable. You got to keep him through the whole movie. But I was a little confused by that sentence at first, but then it made sense because Stripe was a Mogwai who became a gremlin.
Yeah. So at first they were going to, I guess, like the original plan was to have Gizmo turn into the Stripe, and then maybe have some like other element turn into a Mogwai itself or something. So they came up with a couple ideas, but then they decided on the water gimmick, where if they drink water, you can have multiply different ones. But I thought this is interesting before we get into the actual movie. So the film actually mentions a urban legend, which I didn't know about this, in which Kate reveals in a speech that her father died at Christmas when he dressed as Santa Claus and broke his neck while climbing down the family's chimney, which is probably the darkest story within this movie. When we get there, we'll talk about it. So after the film was completed, studio executives insisted upon its removal because they felt it was too ambitious as to whether it was supposed to be funny or sad. Funny or sad?
Yes.
Fucking just sad as shit. What the hell are you talking about funny?
Well, it is sad, but you gotta consider though, it's so ridiculous that maybe it's supposed to be funny because you can't climb down a chimney. It's not possible.
Yes.
Like it just can't be done.
So Dante refused to take the scene out, saying it represented the film as a whole, which had a combine of horror elements and comedic elements. Spielberg did not like the scene, but despite his creative control, he viewed Gremlins as Dante's project and allowed him to leave it. A parody of the scene is featured in Gremlins 2, The New Batch. So, and I guess, is the urban legend, they didn't really say what the urban legend was, but was it like I guess that's the urban legend of maybe like
someone getting caught in Yeah, and a chimney, I think, is the
Yeah.
urban legend that they're talking about.
So, there's a lot more in-depth stuff when it comes to the Gremlins movies, when it comes to the actors and actresses that played him and stuff. But this is definitely one of the most recognized franchise. Too bad the other films actually happened in the 90s. So, unless we do the Retro Blood 90s one of these years, this is the only one we're going to do. But I can't wait to talk about this one because it is a pretty fun movie. But I say, Alison, let's get into it. Let's get into the Gremlins.
Let's do it. Talk about it.
Steven Spielberg presents Gremlins. Billy Peltzer has a nice home.
Billy, is that you?
Yeah, Mom, it's me.
A nice job. A nice girl.
If you're not doing anything this Thursday night, maybe you'd like to go out on a date with me?
I'd love to.
And loving parents who are about to give him...
You're gonna like this. No, don't shake it. We're gonna have to open it now. It won't wait till Christmas.
The most unusual gift he ever got.
What is it?
No.
It's your new pet.
Come on, Barney, be a good dog. My dad gave it to me.
But there are a few things to keep in mind. If you expose it to the light, you may hurt it. If you get it wet, it will multiply.
All that from water? They got wet?
Yeah, plain water.
And most important, no matter how much they beg, never let them eat after midnight. Because when they do, they change. They become clever, mischievous.
What's going on here?
And dangerous.
Gremlins, huh? Little monsters.
Right.
Hundreds of them.
Well, I don't know, maybe thousands.
They've been here too. Billy, what are these things? Where do they come from?
Look, I know it sounds crazy, I know. But in a few hours, you're gonna have a major disaster on your hands.
Gremlins, directed by Joe Dante. They'll be expecting you.
All right, so we start off with our boy Randall Peltzer. All right?
Yeah.
And he is telling us we're about to hear a story that we just won't believe this year. All right? We're not going to believe this story at all. It's a crazy one. So he said he was in Chinatown. We can see him in Chinatown. And he said he's there to... he's traveling around trying to sell his gimmicks. All right? All his inventions. So he goes... So he meets with this kid and he goes into this Chinese town underworld. And he meets Mr. Wang.
Yeah, Mr. Wang.
And he's trying to sell Mr. Wang a do-it-yourself traveling shaving kit. All right. And then it spills on him because this is comedy. Ha ha ha. All right. So we got a little shaving kit in there and everything. And he's trying to, like I said, sell it to him. Guy's not even interested at all. And then Randall, he keeps hearing a noise while this is all happening. He's like, "What the hell is that noise?" He's like, "Oh, that's a Mogwai." He's like, "What?" He looks at the Mogwai. And basically, it looks like a little hermit. No, not a hermit. What do you call those things? It's Gizmo is very similar to like a hamster, I guess, right? I guess they could be in that same class.
Well, a hamster. Well,
gerbil. I don't fucking know.
No.
With a big face.
Like a gerbil with a big face.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he's more like a monkey.
Well, I mean, he's too small to be a damn monkey.
Well, he's too big to be a gerbil.
Well, he's just. I guess he's just what he is. What he is. Mogwai.
But he is what he is, right? He's a Mogwai. But they did say that they tried to get monkeys to portray the Mogwais in the movie, but they had a panic attack when they tried to put the Gizmo head on him, so they nixed that idea.
Yeah, there you go. So apparently, Mogwai in Chinese means devil.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
So there you go.
That's pretty cool.
So Mr. Wang, he refuses to sell the Mogwai. All right, but the kid's all like, hey, I'll sell it to you. Meet me back outside. So he gives him like $200 or something for the dam because they needed the money. He says, okay, whatever you do, you got to follow these 3 rules. No sunlight could kill him. No water. And don't feed his ass after midnight. You get it? Okay.
Yes. So at this point, I have one comment and I have one question.
Go ahead.
My comment is that Mr. Wing is portrayed by the great Key Luke, who's a really, really famous Asian actor who's done a lot of things all the way back to the 30s. And 2, how did this little guy survive in the wild if he can't get wet, he can't eat past midnight, and sunlight kills him?
Well, see, he was so cute and furry that we just came to his demands.
I see.
You know what I mean? And like the Mr. Is it Mr. Wait, you said Mr. Wing?
I think isn't it Mr. Wing? It's not Mr. Wang, is it?
Fuck. Yeah, you're right. Damn it. Who's the fucking from the Orient, Mr. Wing?
With the Oriental spike.
I wonder if him and Killer Khan hang out. That'd be fucking awesome.
He should be Killer Khan's manager if Skandar Akbar gets fired.
That'd be fucking awesome. But Mr. Wing, so remember what I don't want to jump all the way to the ending, but Mr. Wing did say like they can't release this Mogwai on this civilization because they'll fuck it up. So maybe maybe this was like passed down or something, and he knows how to handle the Mogwais and shit on his own. Maybe
this is the only one there is.
But I like it where like in his shop, like he just has it hanging out for customers to hear it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If he was so dangerous, why the fuck is he in your shop? Like, put him somewhere else in like the basement or something shit. You know what I mean?
Or just kill him and just be done with it.
But he can't be killing it. Look how cute he is.
Well, he is pretty adorable. That's probably his defense mechanism. He's too adorable to be put out in the sunlight.
Exactly.
But yeah, strangely he is in that box where customers can hear him. Be cute or whatever he does.
Like how dare Randall think this thing is cute and furry to give it to Billy, to his son? How dare he? So now we're back in our main location of the film, Kingston Falls. You ever been to Kingston Falls there, Alison?
Oh, funny you would ask that question, because as a matter of fact, I have.
Oh, okay, shit.
So, one thing I was going to say is, the scene where they the Chinatown scene was filmed at the Warner Brothers studio backlot.
Yeah.
And when I was in California last year, I did the Universal tour and I did the Warner Brothers tour. So I got to go to the little shop in Chinatown where they filmed that. And I did the Universal one, so I got to go to the town that they have set up there where they filmed this whole thing. It was all on a studio backlot. It was the same town they used for Back to the Future.
Okay, that makes sense.
So as a matter of fact, I have been there. One thing I got to say, though, is when you do those studio tours, it kind of ruins movies for you.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, it really does. Because, before that, like I could just say, oh, that's a town, look. But now I can see that it's like a studio backlot and that there's like in the background, there's a matte painting that's supposed to be the other houses. Because behind that, it's just like, there's buildings, but it's just like the mountains or whatever. So you can tell they have a matte painting set up above the buildings that they have set up there, and then they're doing the whole thing. So yeah, it kind of does ruin movies a little bit. It takes the movie magic out of it. Yeah. But yeah, I was there last year, as a matter of fact.
Oh, nice. Well, speaking of a guy being ruining some stuff, okay. So we see the town getting ready. And then we meet I guess it's Billy's neighbor. So we meet Billy. Billy is the son of Randall. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's first trying to get into his car, but I guess his car froze over. So we meet his neighbor, and I believe the neighbor is his name is Murray. All right.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And Murray, he is trying to show off his new his bulldozer. All right. And I was like, fuck, bro, we just got done seeing a bulldozer and Christine. Mm-hmm. And now there's one here in Gremlins, brother. They're following us around. All right.
It's the same one for Christine.
Yeah. And then he's going on saying, your car sucks because it's foreign. All right, he's one of those. Oh, you suck. Everything sucks. It's foreign. Everything's from the foreign stuff nowadays. It's like, brother, just you wait a couple years. You'll see what happens. So
yeah.
So Billy gets on out of there, and he actually, I guess he has to bring his dog to work. Like, I don't know if he regularly does that, or like he just had to do it this special time. But this is when we see that Billy, he's working with the girl named Kate, who he's obviously semi-flirting with. And then they're signing a petition against the old lady, Mrs. Dingle. All right?
Yes.
Because I guess Mrs. Dingle, she's a widow, right? But like, and she's kind of like a Karen. She's like the 1984 version of an old lady Karen.
Yes.
And she just like denies everybody loans and shit. Or like she has, I didn't really get it. So it's like, was she like the former loans boss or corporate person or something? Because there was a branch manager, and then there was Mrs. Dingle, but everybody was worried about Mrs. Dingle.
I thought she was a real estate agent.
Yeah.
Or she owned a realty company.
Yeah. Because, well, it was weird because when she was coming up to there, one girl was begging her about, not paying the rent. She's like, well, I don't really, I don't care. Bills, you got to pay your bills and stuff. I don't care if it's the holiday season or if you got a new job at all. You know what I mean? All I care about is money.
Yeah, because she's renting to this lady because she's a realtor.
Yeah.
So she's renting to this lady, this girl, and she's about to evict her because
okay, that makes sense.
She's a bitch.
Yes. So she comes in there, starts bitching at fucking Billy because she thinks his dog, okay, broke one of her rare statues. So she goes on about how different ways she's going to put down this dog.
Yeah, very Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
I'm going to get you and your little dog too.
Yes, exactly. And then the dog, I don't know, just attacks her ass.
Yes,
right?
Well, of course, because she's a bitch.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So, I know this is like a horror comedy movie and stuff, but like, let's be honest, if the dog attacked this old lady, this dog wouldn't be in the rest of this movie. So,
well, that's probably true, unfortunately.
So they all come a scene, and then this guy that works with Billy, what the fuck was his name? It was like this Richie guy. He was basically kissing ass to the owner and tell him, why the hell did you even bring your dog over here?
The guy that was played by Judge Reinhold, Gerald?
Yeah, Gerald. No,
okay.
Yeah, the younger guy. Kind of like the younger guy. He was only in there for like a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Judge Reinhold's character. Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of what you're talking about, I was a little confused as to why he's taking his dog to work. But yeah.
He probably just didn't have a babysitter or some shit. So Billy's also an artist. He's like a cartoon artist guy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's at the bar showing this old guy his art. And I guess Gerald walks up saying, hey, it's like, if it was me on, just because it's during Christmas Eve, I would have fired your ass. Unlike the bank owner over here, who didn't. He just felt sorry for you because it's Christmas Eve. All right? So you see, in this world, you got to be a little more tougher. You know what I mean? In about like a year or two, I'm going to be the new branch manager. And what are you going to be? You're just going to be sitting there drawing your little cartoons. All right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know where Kate comes by. And this is actually my favorite line in the movie. Because, I always like those flirtatious lines. So Kate comes by, right? And both of them are kind of surprised to see Kate. And Kate's like, yeah, I just work here like part-times and stuff, to help out the bar owner when he needs some help. So I do both jobs. Mm-hmm. And then like girl's like, hey, Kate, have you seen my new place? And she's like, well, I haven't seen the old one. And then the line of lines, Alison, which if I was in 1984 and I was our boy Gerald, I would use this line on every girl known to man. You know what that line would be, everybody?
Let's hear it.
If I may. All right, picture me. I'm in a suit, right? You know what I mean? Cocky as all shit. Go up to a hot piece of girl and be like, yo girl, I got a new place. And guess what? I got cable TV.
That's pretty amazing, right? I mean, you gotta consider cable TV wasn't as widespread as it
I
is
know,
today.
but I was like, bro, he used the cable TV.
He has cable TV.
He's like, girl, you don't get none of that close circuit, girl. You got the cable TV. All right.
Yeah, you don't have no antenna.
I got
don't worry about no antenna.
I got Madlock on the station, brother. Let's go. We're gonna be fucking, all right. But imagine that nowadays. Hey, girl, I got fucking. I got the Hulu back at the house.
I got Hulu. Ooh, I've always wanted to date a guy who had a Hulu.
I had Hulu.
Must mean you're going places.
Oh God. Like I had no joke. I like rewinded it twice to hear that line. I thought it was great. Then she kind of just blows his ass off, and then we don't really see the guy anymore. Like that was it. Like this guy, he got burnt so bad that he kind of just bowed out graciously. He was like, oh,
yeah, he just kind of got out of the movie. Completely.
Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, all right, I'm getting out of here. Okay, so the guy might have been named Roland. All right, so it's just a very minor character, but he did have the best line of the night. Okay, so now Billy is coming home, and Billy is so the dad has like all these like weird gadgets around his house that none of them work. Okay, and the first one is like this egg maker, which was totally ridiculous and stupid, and it didn't work. And the mom looks like she's depressed because since the dad has taken the form of trying to be an inventor and all his inventions failed, he doesn't bring in a lot of money. You know what I mean? So Billy has to pretty much support the family and stuff with the job that he has while trying to chase his dreams at the same time. So.
Yeah, which makes you wonder how they got into the position they're in now in that big, huge house with his dad's failure inventions.
Well, this is 1984, brother. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess it was easier.
A little easier. All right. Nowadays, he'd be in like a little fucking trailer home, probably, if that. Okay.
If that.
All right. So now, the mom's like I said, she was a little upset because of what's happening too, and then of course, Dad comes home. He gives Billy this present, and he says like, "Hey, we probably have to open it now, just because it's in a box and everything." And first he thinks it's a new puppy, but it's like, oh, it's not a new puppy at all. He's like, okay, we gotta dim the lights, and they ask why. He says like, this is one of the things with them, and so they open it up, and he says, yes, look, it's a Mogwai, all right, and he says like, I don't really know what that means. It's some sort of Chinese word, so I just named him Gizmo. So
that's a great name, though.
Yeah, that is a pretty great name. He probably named it because all of his gadgets he has and stuff. Sure. So they pitch. So he tells them all about the lights and like don't do a lot of lights because they'll hurt him and stuff. It'll kill him. They say don't put water on him, so don't put any kind of water on him. And whatever you do not feed him after midnight. All right. So now we see Billy. He's playing with Gizmo. We can see his dog is getting a little jealous of him paying all the attention with the little Gizmo. Puts a little Santa hat on him and stuff. And then he accidentally drops Gizmo in the trash, all right? And then he picks him up and tries to like help him out a little bit, and they go to sleep. All right. So we got more funny scenes of Billy and the juice maker, comedy,
which also doesn't work. Yeah.
Yes. We have a kid who knows shit. When I saw him, I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. You're in here too? Fucking Corey Feldman shows up.
Corey Feldman's
what the
back
fuck,
on the retro
bro?
blood.
This guy's on everything. Friday the 13th Part 4, fucking Lost Boys, and now Gremlins. All right.
Yeah, he did those the same year.
Damn. Can you believe that shit? This guy fucking.
Yeah. So he was in Friday the 13th Part 4 like 2 months before this. So you had never seen this movie before, I'm guessing?
Well, okay. So last week I said I used to watch it as a kid, but
yeah.
I don't really remember this one, so I'm guessing I watched the second one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this one's way better, but yeah. So now Corey Feldman's in this movie too in a small role.
Yeah, he's playing the character Pete, the tree guy, the tree kid.
Yes, he plays the tree kid.
Yeah, the tree. He's here to bring the tree over. I was like, they do that? You have a custom service that brings your fucking tree over. Is that like still going on that I don't know about? Because every time I had to do a tree, we had to pick that shit up ourselves.
I'm sure in big cities or something that, or maybe just in really small towns, if you live in town, they might bring it to your house, maybe.
So Gizmo was watching the TV. All right, so Billy introduces I put Corey, but it's Pete, to Gizmo.
Corey.
All right, and they're just like looking at. So Pete wants one of them because he looks cute and everything.
Yeah.
And they start playing around with him a little bit, and eventually Pete accidentally spills the water paint on Gizmo, and he starts to like boil up and shit. And then we have like a bunch of little things pop out of him, and then 4 more pop out. All right, and they're looking a little bit nervous, and so now they're like, hey, so now basically 5 of these new gizmos all popped up. All right.
Yeah.
And they realize, oh shit, when you put water on this thing, it like multiplies. All right. And he's like, hey, you can have one now. And then Pete's like, I don't really think I really need one of these now. It's like, come on, bro, what the hell? So now Billy, he's going to Randall. Randall tries to pitch his shaving cream, all-in-one shaving, traveling shit. And then he presses the button so he gets shaving cream on him again. He's like, I was going to fix that. So we're seeing more comedy. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. He has a shaving cream thing that doesn't work. I'm laughing.
Very funny.
Very funny. He says, like, hey, I know what happens when the gizmo gets with water. He multiplies. And then, of course, our boy Randall's like, oh, fuck. This would be a great Christmas toy. You know what I mean?
You can sell them to everybody.
You can sell them to everybody. I actually thought that was where the plot was going to go. But, like, it didn't. So, because we could see all the little gizmos right there, and they're all, like, playing around with the tree and the toys and everything. And then Billy does bring out, like, hey, you see that one with the little striped head? That one seems to be the leader. All right?
And he looks evil.
Yes, he looks a little evil. So, and then Randall's like, he basically says, like, yeah, all these little gizmos would, like, every kid would want them. They would replace the dog. And, of course, the dog looks all nervous. Like he can understand everything a human says. All right. So now Billy, they're all sleeping and stuff. And Billy wakes up a little bit. All right. And the dog, he can't find the dog at all. And you can see that the gizmo with a little striped on his head was laughing a little bit. And we can see the dog is now hanging outside, wrapped up in Christmas lights. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And they're sitting at the table now. It's the mom, the dad, and Billy. And they basically think that Mrs. Beagle did it. Miss Beagle, she's the one that did that to the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That evil bitch.
Yeah. She basically thinks it was her, but obviously we could tell it was one of these gizmo-like creatures.
These mogwais.
These mogwai-like creatures. So, but they said it was kind of weird because they can't necessarily point out that it was Mrs. Beagle because there was no footprints, no prints of anywhere around the snow at all. So they can't really exactly tell, but that's what they think it was. So, and then now the dad says, don't worry about it, I'll bring the dog to the grandma's house and stuff. And then they tried a coffee maker, and his coffee maker looks as dark and slimy as this beer I'm drinking.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Dark as shit.
Bro. Pretty nasty.
So now Pete and Billy, they go to the school, and Billy is showing his teacher, okay, the mogwais and stuff, and showing him like, hey, can you do some experiments on this mogwai and stuff? And the teacher's name is Mr. Hansen. And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll check it out and stuff. And he's like, yeah, we pour water on them and they expand and stuff. So they gave one to him so him to do some experiments on it. All right. And then he'll run some tests on it. So now we have Billy. He's at nighttime. He's in the snow. He looks at Kate because, he's flirting. And he goes by the bar that Kate's working at. And he sees his drunk neighbor. All right, the drunk neighbor leaves. This is when we get the neighbor is about to drive drunk in his snow plower. All right? But then he says, like, this is when he gives up the whole story about the Gremlins of how they go into different planes and they broke them all up. And he's like, all the Gremlins are all around us over here, damn foreigners. And they're like, hey, you probably shouldn't, drive while you're drunk. He's like, oh, that's good. I'll walk home. Okay. And then they leave. So then we see a couple carolers, and this is when Billy and he's talking about how Kate and all of them were talking about the neighbor, Furman, of how he lost his job, and that's why he just needs some people to listen to, because that's why he's really upset for the holidays. And she's like, and then Kate explained, like, yeah, people get upset around the holidays a lot, and Billy can't believe it. He's like, this is the holidays. Why is anybody ever getting upset, brother? All right, I'm a happy camper. She's like,
why
no.
would anybody ever be upset?
Yeah, Kate's like, well, no, I fucking hate Christmas. He's like, why the hell do you hate Christmas? Well, let me tell you. Okay, she doesn't tell her story yet, but she basically says that she's upset, around the holidays, and she doesn't like it, and then they get kind of upset at each other. Then they apologize, but she later on explains to us why she doesn't like Christmas. Well, we'll get to there soon. And then they say sorry, and they have a good night. And then our boy Billy asks, like, hey, what nights are you free? She's like, I'm free on Thursdays. She's like, well, would you like to go on a date? And she's like, yes. And he's like, all right. Well, I'll talk to you on the phone about all the deets. All right. So now Mr. Hansey's drawn some blood on the gremlin. Billy's all hanging out. All right, and then this is actually, I think they made a toy of this one, of Gizmo reading the magazine in 3D.
Oh yeah, with the 3D glasses.
Yeah, with the 3D. Yeah. So now all the other gremlins and stuff, they're all like freaking out. And he's like, hey, I've already fed you and everything. He looks over to the clock. He's like, well, it's not 12 o'clock yet, so I guess I could still feed you guys. Because remember, he's like, as long as we don't feed him after 12, we're fine. So the clock says it was before 12. So he goes grab some chicken legs, and he feeds them all with the chicken legs. And of course, the leader is looking all like he did something evil. And then, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know why Gizmo doesn't warn him though.
Well, he's still new. He doesn't fully trust everybody yet.
I guess, but he knows what's gonna happen. So you would think that he would warn him and point at the clock, because Billy's about to find out why it's not midnight according to the clock. But
yes,
surely Gizmo knows already.
Yeah, because also too, that is true, because Billy tried to offer Gizmo some chicken and he denied it.
And he wouldn't take it. Yeah,
So.
he knew it was past midnight. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's what our boy Mr. Wing said. Gizmo could talk the whole time. Billy just wasn't listening.
True.
Like
Good
a
point.
typical guy. So now teacher, the Mr. Hanson, he's leaving, and he already draws his blood, and of course the blood was all green and shit. And he leaves his sandwich behind, and we can see that the good old gremlin has taken the sandwich. So Billy and Gizmo, they sleep to the TV being on. All right. And it kept saying, you're next. So doing some foreshadowing. And then Billy awake, and he sees that all the gremlins besides Gizmo are all a bunch of eggs now. Or cocoons.
They're cocoons, yes.
Yes. And then he's like, hey, and then the mom comes over, and when he shows the mom, he's like, what, did you feed him after midnight? He's like, no, I'm sure he did. The clock said it wasn't. And then he looks at the clock, and the clock was cut.
Oh, right. Who could have done that?
Yes. So now Pete and Billy meet at the school, and they talk to Mr. Hanson. They could see that his gremlin creature has turned into a cocoon itself too, brother. And then Mr. Hanson had to explain to us what a cocoon is, and they're going through a metamorphosis.
Yeah, it's educational.
Yes. Just like the retro blood. We're all, when you feed these things after midnight, they go through a transformation, a metamorphosis. So now the dad, Randall, he's out at a convention, and he's all like, hey, I didn't know this convention was going to be this stiff on a competition. Because they all have like robots and moving cars and shit, and he has a little failing bring your own traveling kit. So he's a little embarrassed. And she's like, well, it's Xmas Eve and everything, what's going on here? I was like, well, I'll get back as soon as I can. So now we have Mrs. Dingle. She denies somebody her deposit again. This is the same lady. Mm-hmm. And then she's asking Billy about her dog, and hey, where's your dog around here? And Billy just kind of plays it off. So now we're back at the classroom. These kids are learning about birds and birds' heart. and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what kind of crazy video is this? I never seen this one.
Yeah.
It's like the heart pumps. It pumps just like a human. I was like, damn, okay. So now that cocoon is hatching, or all the cocoons at the Billy's house are hatching, and Gizmo's getting worried. And the cocoon at Hanson's office is hatching as well. But this is when bro, I know this is like me in school. The kids hear the bell and it's Christmas Eve break. They got out of there so fast. Brother, I was that kid. I heard that bell. It was a Christmas holiday break. I was like, let's go, brother. 2 weeks off. Fuck yeah. Boom, out of there. All right. So this is when we hear the movie play in the background about hearts and stuff. And Mr. Hanson goes to get this creature a candy bar. All right.
Yes.
So the creature, he gets a candy bar, which is a Snickers. All right.
Yes.
So far we did see a scene at the beginning where there was Burger King. I didn't bring it up. So we got Burger King product placement, and now we got Snickers product placement in this movie. And he's trying to give the candy bar underneath the desk, but the good old gremlin grabs his ass and eats his hand, I guess. Billy goes all the way to school because he realizes, like, oh shit, like he these gremlins are pretty pretty crazy. And he sees Hanson dead with a needle in his ass.
Right. Who could have done it?
Yeah. And then he goes for the phone, but he gets cut off by the gremlin. And then the gremlin leaves the vent. He goes into another room, and it leaves the vent as well, too. Now we're back at the home with Billy and Billy's mom. She hears a noise, and of course it's those other gremlins. And she goes up to Billy's room. She doesn't really see Gizmo anywhere, because Gizmo basically we see Gizmo kind of like he's on the dartboard. All right, so because they're kind of like bullying him. And then they take him and they throw him down like the laundry chute. They throw him down there. And I actually thought this part was pretty crazy. So when the actual, like, I guess, what are they? These are the official gremlins now, because they're all like metamorphosized into like these bigger, like creepier looking slimy creatures that you would see out of the 80s.
Yeah.
And I actually thought, tell me how you think about this scene, Alison. I thought this scene was pretty crazy, where the mom goes straight to like Sarah Connor mode. Like, she kills one gremlin in the blender. She stabs one of these fucking other gremlins. She's like, she fucking taking these gremlins out like some sort of gremlin serial killer.
Yeah, she was great. She was like, yeah,
damn.
She Sarah Connor'd all the gremlins.
I know. I was like, shit.
Yeah, mom was a badass.
She's like, fucking Martha Stewart their asses. All right, let's go, brother. Taking them all down. And of course, a couple of them get away, and then one of the major ones gets away. Striped, he gets away. But I was like, damn, this fucking girl, she's taking them all away. You know, and they were kind of fucking with her a little bit with the Christmas music and everything, and the record player. But then she fucking gets them all in the blender, and she was like just going to town on these fucking guys. So now,
yeah, the one where
go ahead.
He explodes in the microwave is my favorite.
Yeah, the microwave one. That shit was fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. I was like, ugh. Throws his ass in the microwave. It's like that. And there's a ceiling fan one. Yeah.
Ceiling fan was awesome too. Yeah. So she went hog wild on these gremlins.
Yeah. So, and then of course, so while this is happening too, one of the gremlins actually goes on the tree and starts attacking the mom. Okay. So after she took care of about 3 or 4 of them, there's still a lot more left, you know? And there's one on the tree that got her and she was fighting with it. And then Billy comes over and he actually kills it with his sword that was on the wall that falls off all the time. So they're doing all that. So Billy brings the mom over to the doctor, and he basically keeps him over at the doctor's house. And then Billy heads home and he finds Gizmo in the laundry chute. And the dad tries to call, but nobody's answering. Billy is looking for Striped now, because he knows like Striped is like the main leader guy of the crew now. And I think he's the only one left out of the ones that turned into the evil grown gremlin Mogwais. So he goes to the local YMCA. All right. And he hears Spike kind of like hiding between like this chute, and eventually Spike pops out, like taps. Basically, it looks like he tapped Billy just for a second. And he jumps right into the pool.
Oh yeah.
And this is when we have the. This is when basically the gremlins are start growing now, because he jumped into a whole pool. And we just saw that just by a little bit paint water can make like 5 of these gremlins. Just imagine what a whole pool can make now. So Billy's all freaking out, and he runs to the police.
The pool starts like fogging and glowing underneath the water, so you know some bad shit's about to happen.
Yeah, like when it was growing like Christmas colors.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nice, right?
So now Billy goes to the police. All right. And he's telling all the police about, there's like 1,000 gremlins coming out of that fucking pool over there. And they're all laughing. I'm like, you're fucking drunk. He's like, I'm not drunk and shit. You got to believe my story about these gremlins. All right. He's like, listen, the main one is called Spike. And look, listen, I'll show you what this guy looked like. And then they show him like Gizmo and stuff. All right. And they're like, this cute little furry thing ain't going to attack nobody.
But they don't look like this now.
Yeah. And then we do see a scene of like, Striped and all his minions or all of his creations are coming onto the street, and they're about to terrorize the whole town now.
Yeah, that was like the worst stop motion effect I've ever seen.
Well, come on, brother. You know what I mean? We're in 84.
Like, I'm not even sure it was stop motion. I don't even know how they did that. Like, they have all the little gremlins like walking down the street, but they've also sped up the film to make them walk faster.
Yeah.
It just looked awful. I mean, for all the special effects in this movie, which were done by Chris Wallace, who did special effects on the fly, or would do, depending on your continuity. And to us, it's in the past, but in this continuity, it's in the future. Yes. He did special effects on the fly, but yeah, that could have been better.
Well, you know what I mean? You gotta start somewhere. You know what I mean?
Of course, right. Of course, now it'd be all CG and it'd look all shitty.
Yeah, look all shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first stop they do is at Murray's house, the fucking neighbor. You know, the guy hates all foreign shit. He's watching some TV. He's all pissed off. He thinks this is a foreign TV.
Because nothing will come in.
Yeah,
and then the only channel he can get is the Spanish channel.
Yeah. He's like, damn, foreign channel again. So he wants to go check out the satellite on top of the house. All right. And he's going out there looking at
antenna,
it.
Yeah, the TV antenna.
Yeah, the TV antenna on top of the house. Then he hears a noise in the garage, and then out comes one of the gremlins in his bulldozer. He's like, "Oh shit!" And then he runs back into the house, and then it smashes the house. All right, and then he's like saying right before he gets smashed, he's like, "It's a real gremlin." That part was pretty.
Yeah,
good.
I was a little confused by this scene too. Like, so the gremlins are like. They can pick up, they're strong enough and heavy enough that they can pick up a dog and wrap him up in Christmas lights.
Yeah.
But they're light enough that if they hang on a TV antenna, the TV antenna doesn't bend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. They're very agile.
And they somehow know how to drive a bulldozer.
Yes. I mean, what do you think a Mogwai is? It's a multi-talented. All right.
Is it Chinese for bulldozer driver?
Yes. Right.
Okay, fair enough.
See, I heard so what they did was they knew this was going to happen, so they got their bulldozer license beforehand, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So now we have one guy put something in the mailbox, and the one of them throws it back, and then the other guy comes in and he grabs his hand for comedy. We have all the gremlins messing with the street lights, and all these cars start crashing up everywhere. And this is Gizmo. Now we're back at the police station. Gizmo is angry for these cops, and the cops keep laughing at him. And then Billy's trying to explain the plot to these cops, but the cops are not listening. He's like, no, right. Gizmo is not the crazy bad creature. This is like the beforehand stage. I gotta pour him some fucking water and for him to turn into the crazier ones. And they're not believing him at all. And then they get a call. They're like, oh, what happened? It's like, yeah, Mr. Hanson or Mr. The neighbor and stuff. He got killed with the bulldozer going, or snowplower going through his house.
Yeah.
All right. And then of course Billy kind of reminded me like what's his name? Oh fuck. Well, he reminded me of the guy from Friday the 13th. The
okay.
What's it? You know, the kid that we had, like the Corey Feldman played his character.
Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. So Billy kind of reminded me of Tommy from Friday the 13th, where he was like, "Listen, guys, this is the Gremlin doing all this stuff," and the cops were like, "No, you're just crazy." All right. So he kind of reminded me of there. So Billy's just trying to tell him like, "Hey, these Gremlins out there," but they're not really believing him. All right. So he basically tells the cops, "Hey, you just go home and open up those Christmas Eve presents. We'll take care of all this shit." All right?
Sure.
So now, Stripe and a couple of his creations are at Mrs. Deagle's house. All right, Deagle, she plays around with her cats a lot. She's a big cat person. I actually thought this scene was actually pretty awesome. So she has like a lift, like for going up her staircase and shit, like where she gets onto and it lifts her downstairs and everything. And she's like taking care of her cats, and she hears all these like singing out there. And that's one of the things too we forgot to bring up. Apparently, the Mogwais they're known for singing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because remember he sings when they're playing the keyboard. And he plays the little Mogwai song.
Yeah, so they sing a little bit. So Mrs. Dougal, she hears them singing outside. She's like, "I fucking hate Christmas carolers. I told those ass not to come around here again." And she opens up the door, and there's a bunch of Gremlins dressed up like Christmas carolers, and she like freaks out. And then in between, Striped, he was in the house, and he rigged her little like a carrier machine up the stairs.
Yeah.
And she gets on that shit, and she goes like 1,000,000 miles per hour, and she shoots out of the house. Bro, that scene was fucking awesome. I love that scene.
How can you not laugh at that? That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a great scene. Yeah, that shit's comedy. And she flies out of the house. She falls right in front of the cops, and the cops are like, "Was that Mrs. Deagle?" Oh shit! And then there's like,
maybe there really is a problem.
Yeah, and then they look over, and then they see this guy who played Santa Claus, and one of the cops' name is Kevin. And it was all like, what's that guy doing? Like, that's like the mall Santa guy. Like, what's all over him? Why does he have that all over him and stuff? And the other guy's like, "I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if this is right over here. I think we should get out of here." All right. And so they start driving around, and the other guy is freaking out. They can see that there's like madness everywhere. And eventually the cops, like, they get into an accident and the car blows up. So this is also too when... So Billy is now his car. He finally gets into his car, and his car actually starts this time. Okay, and now we have Pete has called the local radio station, telling him about all these Gremlins attacking everything, and the radio guy doesn't believe it until the Gremlins start attacking his radio station. Okay, now we're at a mobile gas station. Another product placement. All right. And Randall is trying to sell his smoke-free ashtray gimmick to a local mobile gas station attendant. All right. He's trying to sell more of his gimmicks.
Yep.
So
because the guy smokes a lot.
Exactly. So this is when we got a weird scene that probably cost a lot of money to make. We have the Gremlins. We have the Gremlins are fucking up the bar where Kate works at. And we get like this whole like Gremlin mafia. Some of you would see in like maybe some of you would see in like the Godfather scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drinking beer. They're drinking some of their beer wasn't as dark as the shit I'm drinking. But they had beer there. They were smoking some cigs, playing some poker. There was Spike, the one that shoots one of them like a gangster. All right.
Yeah, why is she serving them? Like, why doesn't she just escape? Like, go.
Well, they didn't let her.
Well, true, but
I'm just thinking like these. So. Okay, I'm thinking this though, Alison. If they can multiply by water, okay, and they're drinking a bunch of fucking beer, wouldn't we have like a lot more of
water
these?
in it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, so it doesn't say they can't drink water. It says they can't get water on them, which is going to be a question to ask. Like, does the Mogwai like just try to drink water without spilling water on him, or how does that work? Maybe he doesn't drink water. I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
maybe
I would think if they spilled beer on him, they would definitely
maybe the beer is there for the effect.
Populate. Maybe.
So then Kate realizes, I guess she was trying to make some fire shots or something, but she realized that fire, like, no, she was trying to light one of their cigarettes. Maybe she thought they were customers. I don't know. So she started lighting a cigarette. She knows that the light is, the fire light is scaring them. So she uses that basically on all of them to get out of there. And then one of them is on a fan. And then one of them also tries to shoot her, but she gets on out of there. And Billy comes in and saves her and stuff. And then now that he got his car and saved her, now the car won't start. So they had to get out of there and run on foot. And then there's madness all around the town. And then now they're going, they go back to Billy, and Billy's now telling Kate that they're all gremlins. And then she's like, oh, I just got another reason to hate Christmas now. And this is when she gives us the story of why she actually hates Christmas.
Her sad story about her dad.
The dark scene over here, brother. So she was 9 years old, right? And it was on Christmas Eve or something, or Christmas. And the mom and dad, all right, they were together, but the dad wasn't home, and he left. And they tried to look for him all around the town, but they couldn't find him at all. So they think he basically just skipped out on them. And then about like 4 months later, they heard they had like a smell of something, so they thought might have been like just a dead rodent in the chimney. But then when they checked out the chimney, they realized that it was the dead dad in the chimney the whole long. And what happened was he was coming down the chimney to dress like Santa, and he slipped and broke his neck, and he got stuck in the chimney.
Wait, do they say that in the movie that it took 4 months to find him?
Yeah, like it took like around a couple months to find him. Is it 4 months or 4 weeks or something like that? But it took a little while to actually find him in the chimney.
That is a very long time.
Yeah. So I was like, oh shit, that's fucking crazy. She's like, that's why I hate Christmas. I was like, oh shit, that's the darkest shit. Okay.
Pretty dark.
And then she's like, hey, where all the gremlins go? And Bill's like, well, it'll be light pretty soon, so they'll be hiding stuff. It's like, okay, well, let's go to the theater. Or like I guess they see some stuff happening at the theater. And so they go to the movie theater, and the theater's playing Snow White. So they can see some of the gremlins in the movie theater, because, it's really dark in a movie theater, even though there's like light on the screen. But I guess that light doesn't hurt them.
Guess not.
Even though a flashlight from a flash bulb does.
Yeah, absolutely. A flashlight hurts them.
So now they're watching the movie. They're all watching the movie together. It's actually a pretty famous scene of all the gremlins inside the movie theater reacting off to Snow White. They start singing the whole song. And this is okay. Like, it's been a while since we've seen Snow White. Is the song about my hole or my home?
Like the song they're singing in the movie?
Yeah. This song
is Hi Ho.
Oh, it's Hi Ho. I thought
Hi Ho, it's off to work we go.
Oh, my bad. I thought they were saying my hole, my hole, my hole, my hole, my hole. I'm sorry, bro. My brain goes to different. My brain goes to different shit. Okay, when I watch stuff, I can't help it. Okay. And then like Kate's like, "What are they doing there?" Bill's like, "They love watching Snow White." All right, and then she's like, "Well, let's go to the boiler room, and what we'll do is we'll blow up the whole fucking building and burn all their asses in here." Oh, okay, dark shit. All right, let's go.
Because that's not an overreaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's nuke the whole town.
Yeah, let's nuke it. All right, let's go.
Just nuke it for space. Yeah. That's the only way to know for sure.
So our boy Stripe, he is not digging the female gremlin, all right, that he had over at the bar. He just wants more candy. So he gets over there. He sees the candy shop like at the next place, so he goes to the candy stop to get out of there. So now Billy's turning on the gas that's underneath the fucking movie theater. All right, and then he lights a little rag on fire. Then they run out of there, and then they have to run past the screen. But a lot of the gremlins see them running past the screen, so they try to trace them down. All right, and they eventually get out of there. They lock them in, and the whole place blows up. And of course, Stripe sees with candy all around him that Billy and his crew blew up all his minions.
Yep.
So now, when Billy and Kate and all of them and Gizmo and they're all there, they see, they actually see, or Billy does, he sees Stripe in the department store. Like, oh crap, we got to get this one. You know what I mean? Because there's still one left. All right. Mm-hmm. And then, like, basically what they need to do is, when this Billy says, like, listen, like, Stripes, he's the one that, like, did all this. So we had to stop him from getting back to that, YMCA pool so they can create more of them. All right? So that's why they got to go take him out right now. They can't wait. All right? So now...
Yeah, because he'll start this whole thing all over again if they don't catch him.
Yeah, so now, and then also too, Billy says he's going to go after him, and if you can, like, look after Gizmo, and then this is when we get a quick kiss with Kate and Billy. I was like, oh, okay. So now the Stripe is tricking Billy on the TV, starts smashing up all the TVs. Billy's going through all the toys. Kate is using a loudspeaker to try to distract Stripe. Stripe is now attacking Billy with some arrows, and he eventually hits Billy with the arrow in the arm. Mm-hmm. All right. And then during this, Gizmos cannot take this anymore. He is going to grow a spine, and he gets into his car and starts driving around the whole department store, and it takes him an hour to get to where he's trying to get.
This was adorable with him driving around in the little toy car.
Yes.
I mean, that shit was fucking cute. You can't deny
it. It took
that.
him forever, though.
It did. It took him a while. But, I mean, they had to have long scenes of him driving around in a cute little car, man. It was cool.
And then during this, Randall shows up with a dog. And the dog knows right away there's danger, so he comes in there. And I like how, like, he's, like, nervous, like, with Gizmo in the car. And then he tries to go help out. So Billy, he is still fighting with Stripe. And Stripe is down near, like, a water fountain, which is in there.
Yeah.
And he has a gun on him. He's about to shoot Billy. And so Gizmo comes flying in there, distracts him a little bit. Dog comes in there, starts to distract him a little bit. And then Gizmo's plan was to rip out the shades that was covering up the sunlight from that department store part. And he does that. Stripe starts to melt a little bit, and he eventually melts in the water. Billy checks on him. Stripe comes back all melted up because we have to have our one scare scene at the end, like a horror movie.
Yeah, a jump scare. Yeah, where he jumps out of the water.
Yeah, he starts melting. Looked pretty crazy. So then we... go ahead.
I was going to say, so you can see, like, in this scene especially, you can see that it looked like the special effects of the melting Gizmo looked a lot like the Fly special effects.
Yeah.
So you can see where Chris Wallace, like, would go from this to do the Fly.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It looked good. Like, the way the Gremlins looked and the melting scene and stuff, it looked really good. So now we're back at the Peltzer's house. All right, they're watching the news about all the carnage that happened around the town, and we have a narration by the dad saying, "Yeah, I told you guys wouldn't believe this story." And then, out of nowhere, Mr. Wing shows up, says, "Oh, you all fucked up." It's like I guess, like, the dad was like, "Oh, I'm sorry that I actually bought a Gizmo from him." He's like, "Oh yeah, bought is a strong word." Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he
listen,
basically stole him.
Yeah, he basically did. He says Mogwais are not supposed to be part of civilization because civilization always messes everything up. All right. Yep. Just like you guys did over here. And the dad's trying to, like, apologize a ton. And then Gizmo, obviously Bill's looking sad because he developed a relationship with Gizmo. And then Mr. Wang's like, listen, you guys are just not ready, or you, Billy, are not ready for Gizmo yet. But when you are, come see him and he has something to tell you. He's all like, he can talk? And Wang's like, he's been talking this whole time. You're just not listening.
He just won't listen. Which I thought was weird because he has been talking. I mean, he says, Mogwai all the time.
And then Billy, and then he basically just says Billy. The Gizmo does. And then the dad's like, hey, to apologize, I'll give you this limited edition smoke ashtray. And then Mr. Wang's like, oh, I already heard about it before because the guy at the mobiles tries to give it away for me too. But thank you. And then we get a weird story from the dad. I don't know, was the dad high this whole movie? I have no idea. But he was also like, yeah, if you guys ever, hear a strange noise in your house and stuff, don't call an electrician, don't call a plumber and stuff. It could be a gremlin. Then we cut the movie.
So what did you think of this?
I mean, it was fun. Like I could tell, this is like the it's kind of like the E.T., you know what I mean? Where it's very it's like semi-wholesome. It kind of is in the same realm. It kind of reminds me of like Home Alone, like that kind of stuff where there is dark tones to it. You know what I mean? But it's very like wholesome style movie. You know what I mean?
That's interesting that you would say that because Chris Columbus also wrote Home Alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could tell. I mean, you could, like I'm saying, like even Home Alone, if you look at some of the actual like premise of the story, like two burglars trying to break into this house and they fail and they want to kill this kid. I mean, that's pretty, it's kind of dark if you look at the tone, the actual like plot. Like if I just explained the plot of that movie and not gave it all its funny,
a horror movie.
Yeah, you would think it's like some sort of horror movie. Just like this one, but like you have like this crazy demon creature who spawns into this other crazy demon creatures and they want to terrorize this town and kill everybody, But if you add like the wholesome family entertainment with it, you know what I mean? It's like I said, they're basically doing that. It's like horror comedy in a way. It's kind of like Little Shop of, Little Shop of Horrors and stuff. It's very wholesome stuff. Yeah. So it's, for that realm, it's fine. You know what I mean? And, I mean, come on. This is like definitely a young kid trying to get into, I wouldn't even say horror too, but a young kid trying to see like more like a maybe more adult family movie. Like this would be, like I said, this would be a perfect PG-13 movie at the time. So I'm glad they actually created that idea. You know what I mean? Because it's not rated R.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
No, it's not rated R.
It's not PG.
No, it would be if they left the scene in it with his mom's head getting cut off.
Yes, that would have been a little bit.
And there are multiple scenes where gremlins get decapitated.
Yeah, but they don't really count that, because
they don't count because they're not humans.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like if the dog or the mom or anybody got like killed and shit, and we saw it, then I could see maybe pushing it at this time to a rated R type of movie.
Yeah,
but that
if they ate the dog, that would be horrifying.
But that is very interesting. Like you were saying, between this and that Indiana Jones movie, they made it PG-13, which they actually came up with the idea. Which to me, that actually makes a lot of sense because it's not PG in a way where it's so like censored you can bring little kids to it, but it's not rated R where you got to be like it can only be for adults only. So,
right. So. Yeah, I like this movie. I mean, I wouldn't watch it all the time, but I think it's cute and it's a good story. It's got a great cast. I mean, it has Hoy Daxon, Zach Galligan, Phoebe Cates, who I've always loved for some reason. Well, I mean, she's beautiful, but I mean, like since I was a little kid, like I always had a huge crush on Phoebe Cates. This is actually the first. Her signing for this movie is actually controversial because, as good girl as she seems in this movie. Like she was actually known for doing like parts with lots of nudity in it. Not lots, but some nudity. Like she was known for doing nudity in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and the movie she did before that. I think it was called Prophecy. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, but she was kind of a controversial signing for this movie apparently. But yeah, she's great. I mean, it's got a great cast. It's a great writer. Got a great director. But yeah, love this movie. That's great.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one. So I'm glad we actually got to do it here on the Retro Blood Christmas edition, brother. What a way to bring in the Christmas holiday season with some gremlins hiding underneath your bed. But we're not done with this month yet, though. This might be the Christmas spectacular episode. But we're not done with the month of December yet, brother, because we have one more episode to do here on the Retro Blood, because we are doing a special New Year's edition, or of course we'll be dropping on New Year's Eve. Next Sunday will be New Year's Eve, and we're dropping a hot new episode of the Retro Blood entitled Bloody New Year.
Sounds great.
Bro, I can't wait. If it's anything like New Year's Evil, brother, it's It's gonna be a banger.
That was a great one too.
Yeah, that was a
great one too, and this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. But everybody, from for the Retro Blood over here, we wish you all a great Merry Christmas. Make it a fun one from here from the Retro Blood. But join us here tomorrow for the Lights Out, where me and Alison will bring it on the Christmas day, and we're gonna be talking all about It's a Wonderful Knife. Boy, that's gonna be a little tough one. You might hear jolly old Saint Scrooge, James Kline over here, give his negative review about the movie. So if y'all, and I actually heard a lot of positive ones about it, but I'll give my take on it because this is going to be something. But I'd like to see your.
All right, I haven't seen it yet, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll do that full review. So anybody who wants to listen to that, the Lights Out, you can do a little special Christmas episode on there. But Alison, what should we leave the audience with when it comes to some music here today?
Man,
Christmas
we didn't really have a lot of metal for this show. And we've played Slayer a million times, so why don't we end playing the little Gizmo Gremlins theme?
Oh, that's a good one. You know what I mean? It's a very like techno and shit. You know what I mean? Like very 80s synthesizers and shit. You know what I mean? I can get down. You know what I mean? I mean, this is a great holiday season. I mean, we got Kate loving Christmas again. You know what I mean? Because she's finally gonna get Billy. All right. We got the dad still selling his gimmicks that suck. All right. She's probably gonna be going to poverty pretty soon. We don't have to worry about Mrs. D anymore. She got killed. So everybody can like sign off on their houses and pay their rent late now. It's a great Christmas, everybody. Great time. It's a great time to be here on the